Welcome to Nails and Networks. I'm Jeff Wilson, business coach and AI strategist for the construction industry.
And I'm David Bernardino, fractional executive, AI marketing nerd, doing a lot of things within the NAHB. Today's episode is the one people keep asking us for, not the theory, not the stats, not the academic talk, the actual pipeline. So what does a contractor sales system look like, step by step, from the moment a lead comes in to the moment a check clears? We're going to walk you through the entire process, soup to nuts.
Yes, and this is such a critical element. In our main episode, we made the case that there's no off-the-shelf CRM that was ever built for how contractors actually work. Today, we're going to build the alternative. You don't need to use the exact same tools we might talk about. It's the framework and the process. And every successful business in construction or any industry follows a process. And once you see the full picture, you'll understand why most contractors are running a 2010 or maybe even a 1990 sales process in a 2026 market. David, let's go. Market context first. You just have to understand what's going on in the construction business today. 75% of small and mid-sized businesses are beginning to invest in AI, and 71% plan to increase that amount. AI-empowered sales teams are seeing as much as 42% higher conversion rates. The gap between the contractors who have a system and those who don't is getting bigger every single month. So the specific construction data is that 30% of sales teams still rely primarily or almost exclusively on spreadsheets for pipeline management. 40% store their data in email and sticky notes, and 50 to 70% of CR implementations in construction fail, in some cases miserably. It's not because the technology is bad. It's because the fit was wrong. They're using tools that may be generic or for something that isn't their process. What I'm going to talk to you through isn't a CRM. It's a workflow. It's a system. The CRM is just a tool that you use to implement your system.
Yeah, Jeff, at the end, what we're talking about is a sales system that actually integrates both sales and marketing. Because at the end, both need to work synergistically. Think of it as a relay race. You might start to establish the brand through advertising or through organic social media posts, right? That's going to get your brand aware in the minds of your potential prospect. But ultimately, that prospect, think of it as a baton, needs to get handed off to someone on your sales team, whether it's yourself, the owner of the business, or an inside salesperson or an estimator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, that lead needs to get transitioned to a salesperson who ultimately is going to write the quote, follow up, and ultimately close and get the contract signed and collect the money. So the two need to work together and need to be thinking of this as a holistic system. And how do you measure this? At the end, it's all about pipeline. And we'll talk about why pipeline is the most undervalued asset for a marketer, for a salesperson, or anyone in a commercial function, whether you have a contracting business, whether you have an industrial selling business, or whether you have a building materials business. Pipeline is the critical metric that will measure the future health of your business.
David, right on. And we may use the term contractor or builder. What we're talking about is true in the construction business, whether you're a manufacturer, a distributor, a small or mid-sized home builder or in the trades, it doesn't matter. What we're going to talk about now in terms of process is a fit for any business in our industry. So let's talk about those stages and how to build it. Stage one is lead capture. The lead comes in, and it doesn't matter where it comes in. It could be from a web form, it could be an inbound call, it could be from a Google ad or Google local services, a referral. It doesn't matter. However it comes in, your system catches it, tags it. In a functional pipeline, every lead source feeds into one place. And we call that your CRM. It could be Salesforce, Go High Level, Builder Trend, Jobber, House Call Pro, House. It doesn't matter for this stage. You have one inbox that it comes into. No lead falls through because it came through a channel no one was watching.
Well, Jeff, you're speaking to an old ad from back in the day. For us Gen Xers and before, there used to be an ad by Head and Shoulders where they used to say, "You never had a second chance to make a first impression. This is
Mm.
your first impression." The lead's first impression of your brand is formed by whether someone or something shows up when they reach out. A lead that falls into the gap between contact channels communicates disorganization. So, literally, this is the first impression, which in many respects becomes the lasting impression that your potential customer has about you.
That's why stage two is so important. Instant response. Last week we talked about speed to lead. That's instant response. Do it within 60 seconds. Send out an AI powered text. Hey, this is superior kitchen and bath remodeling. Got your message. What kind of project are you working on? Don't leave a voicemail, not a we'll get back to you. Send a live text conversation that starts immediately. Make it easy for them to respond. Text messages respond really well, and it may cost a little more, but there are systems to those of us. I'm an Apple guy only because it's drop dead easy, but people respond more to the blue bubble in text messages. There are services that will do that in a blue bubble for you. So the AI conversation piece is where the platform matters. There are a lot of different programs and platforms that do it. Go High Level runs it natively. Jobber and Builder Trend can fire an auto reply, but they don't really have the full conversational AI. So if an instant AI response is the goal, that narrows your platform choice. But some response is better than none. And we have clients who are using, I'll call it less than state-of-the-art platforms that are getting great results because we make the most of the platform they have. Use what you've got. That's what closes the speed to lead gap. The first contractor to respond wins 35 to 50% of the time, as high as 78% of the time. You can be the first without being available by using the right platform and technology.
Yeah, you actually raise an interesting point, Jeff. And when I was at Proctor, we used to talk about how the only strategy that the consumer experiences is execution. So
Mm.
at the end, it doesn't matter what is happening behind the scenes of your own business. The only thing that the homeowner sees is whether or not you responded in 60 seconds versus 48 hours. And so, based off of that, what type of story are you communicating to that potential customer by responding within 60 seconds versus 48 hours? Again, it doesn't matter to a certain degree what is happening behind the scenes, right? You can do this, using your current tools today or use whatever you got. It's about a mindset of, hey, I am going to be customer centric. I am going to be responsive. I am going to be on the ball. And ergo, I'm actually going to respond in a reasonable amount of time, 60 seconds, 1 hour, whatever it is, not 48 hours. So at the end, this is about communicating that first impression about how that customer views you.
So stage three is about qualification, and AI is fabulous at this. So it could be the text conversation, it could be a voice or web-based conversation, social media. The conversation continues. And the goal is to get and interact and be a curious listener, engage. What's the job type? What's the location? What are they looking for? What's their timeline? What are their considerations? Do they have a budget? Are they a homeowner or a renter? Don't look at these as intrusive questions. They're the same things that your best salesperson would be asking if they picked up the phone. If your receptionist answered the phone, they would ask these same questions. The AI handles it 24/7 and never misses a beat and without a human at all. And all of that is recorded. It's captured in your database in your CRM, and it's available when your sales manager, sales representative, you as the owner, call back. You know all the answers. So you have a qualified lead that then is booked for an estimate. If they're unqualified, they politely are tagged and said, well, let's take a look here at what you have, and they're filed away. Again, depending on how you want to handle someone unqualified, maybe you'd like to find more and you want to hand them off to someone else. Someone else who might fit. You get to decide how you want to handle them, but don't book up your calendar with those people. Your calendar only gets qualified appointments. And that leads us to stage 4, the estimate. And this is absolutely critical. Also, you have to do this quickly. Don't get bogged down for weeks and weeks. That estimate is sent from your system, not from a personal email. It matters because it means the system knows when it's sent out. We talked about Buildertrend, Jobber. Those have those built in. We love that. It's perfect. Everything is tracked. Your takeoffs are measured. Project management becomes better. Use a professional system. It could be Procore. Whatever system you use it. And that's going to trigger stage 5 automatically.
Yeah, and think about this. The estimate isn't just a price document. It actually is an articulation about your brand and what the homeowner is going to expect from you. So you might say, oh gosh, this doesn't matter, but the layout, professionalism, the confidence, the grammar, all those things are going to matter. So the contractor who sends a well-formatted proposal with clear scopes is communicating something different than a contractor who sends an estimate with a number on a napkin or an email with a dollar amount and nothing else. Some people might say, oh my God, that means I got to create this crazy document. You can, but I know of other contractors, whether it's in our industry or outside, where the main part of the meat and potatoes of the estimate is literally 1 page. And then all the details are in an appendix, and again, it's a Word document. It could literally be 3 or 4 pages max, because at the end, layout, conciseness, brevity, grammar, formatting, all that communicates signals to that potential customer. And the more that you're on the ball, the more that potential customer is going to have confidence in you being able to deliver the job and do it effectively. You might think it doesn't matter, but it actually does.
And this is really, really important when you talk about presentation. And David, you've made your career on presentation and how you make that impression upon someone. And it's really where we find many smaller contractors drop the ball. But I have to say, I've worked with very large contractors that I feel, given their stature, the quality of their professional work, their estimates just don't hold up because they don't follow a system and process. They just pull things together and give somebody a number and a breakdown. But by having a clear format, an established template, and having an automated follow-up sequence that fires the moment the estimate goes out, changes everything. So day two, you send a text, hey, we got your request. We're going to prepare an estimate for you. Day five shouldn't be longer than that, hopefully sooner, but you don't want to wait that long. It should be within 72 hours. Email with project detail. Day seven, the CRM has a reminder for a personal phone call. And again, probably 95% of the time you're going to get voicemail. Have that script ready of what you're going to say. Day 14, another text from a different angle. Day 30, another check-in. And you can have sequences maybe on a monthly basis after. You never know why people stop. You don't know if something personal came up in their life. You don't know if they had a financial issue or problem, or they were just curious and they really weren't yet in the market, but 3 years later they will be. You stay in touch with them in a respectful manner, not bugging them, but giving them value. You're the first one they think of. Set it up automatically. It runs without you. 80% of all sales need 7 or more follow-ups. This sequence covers 7 without a single manual touch point. You can have an automated personal call. We like the personal calls to be a human being, but there are voice systems that will actually do the voice call follow-up. Stage 6 is the close. The job closes. 2 things happen immediately. You get a review request. Reviews are critical. They're the lifeblood of your business. And again, that should be part of your system. 48 hours after the project is completed, have a follow-up text asking for a Google review. And if you don't have it, another referral ask 30 days after completion. You reach out and just say by phone, email, text, hey, Sari, we're glad you're happy with our work. If you know anyone else who needs a home, we'd really appreciate the introduction. Most contractors, most builders, most businesses don't ask for referrals. The ones who automate it get a referral pipeline that runs in the background forever. David, can you talk about the nurture stage? Because you're great at keeping in contact and in touch with people. Why don't you talk about that and bring us home on that?
Yeah, so nurturing, you started to touch on it earlier, Jeff, where this is all about setting up a regular cadence where you're just checking in or circling back with a prospect. And there's several ways of doing it. You can just say, hey, just reaching out, seeing how things are going. If you know that your potential customer is looking for a new kitchen, the nurturing might be, hey, here's the latest trends report about new kitchen designs. Again, the
Mm-hmm.
more that you're able to customize and tweak the nurturing communications to the point where it may add value to your potential customer, the more that your potential customer is going to perceive you as being respectful, you know, being on the ball, being someone that I potentially want to work with. Because at the end of the day, um, you're talking about a purchase cycle where a homeowner might be
Hmm.
remodeling a kitchen maybe once or twice in their lives, or replacing their roofs once every 10 to 15 years, barring a hurricane or a bad storm, right? So these are businesses or projects where you don't have many at bats. And so more of the effort is going to be done on the nurturing side of the fence and making sure that you have the patience and consistency to play the long game. Because I think a lot of contractors that I speak with, the biggest impediment to all this in many respects is a fundamental lack of patience. It's mindset. Because at the end, if you have the patience to see this through and to nurture these folks, you then have created a sales pipeline, an actual system that integrates sales and marketing to create a pipeline. And ultimately, by doing this systematically, it becomes the moat, becomes the brand engine that differentiates you, your local kitchen remodeling firm, or your local roofing contracting firm, or your local remodeling firm from everyone else on the street. These are the folks that realize that any potential interaction with a customer is a touch point. And by doing this, you've established a clear point of differentiation. And one of the things that I tell my clients to do is take a look at these 7 steps that Jeff has spoken to, and then spend 30 minutes with a pad of paper and map it
Hmm.
out. Because at the end of the day, this is a process. The whole thing that we've spoken to is a process. And there are leads that come in to the process. You have potential interactions at each step of the way, and then you get outputs. And the outputs are really simple. Either A, this potential prospect is not interested at this time, which means it's in the nurture bucket, or B, this person closes and becomes a client. Those are the only two potential outcomes, unless you really screwed up the relationship and the person says never again. Well, let's just exclude that. And then for each potential interaction, you can start to map out what are the ways where I can interact with the potential prospect and add value. And you start to map that whole ecosystem out. And then you can start to program your CRM system such that at any particular step in that journey,
Hmm.
you actually know what you need to do. The metaphor I like to use is when you're connecting, on an airplane, right? Those that know me know I fly a ton. So say you're flying, from Newark to Bozeman, Montana for a meeting, and you got to connect in O'Hare, right? Just like this process, planes are coming in, leads are coming in. You get off the plane, and chances are you're rushing through O'Hare from Concourse C to Concourse F to catch that connecting flight. You're trying to get that lead through the process as quickly as possible. Ultimately, right, they're going to get on the connecting flight. They're going to either become a client or not, and they're going to go on your merry little way. It's a similar thing, and so think about it very systematically. And by doing it, you're going to be steps ahead from every competitor that you're competing against.
I really, really like what you said, David, in as people look to what they're going to do on Monday morning, which is to sit down by themselves or with their team and a pad, could get technology and use a computer, and for 30 minutes, think out those 7 stages. Just think about it for 30 minutes and then do it one step at a time. What that means is in 7 weeks, so at the end of 2 months, you'll have built the beginnings of a 7-stage sales process. So begin building this week. Set up that instant response when a lead comes in. So a lead from any source, something goes out within 60 seconds. Whatever platform you're in, see if you have a text back or get a text back feature. If you're on whatever platform, auto reply. The labels vary by tool, but do it. It's simple and the payback is amazing. And that's just this week. Next week, you audit what's happening, and you keep moving forward to stage 3, to stage 4. By doing that one process at a time, you build a complete system. That's in 60 days. And at the end of 90 days, not only will you have all running, you'll have them running for a month, and you'll be improving them. That's what a system is. You want a self-improving system. So I'll tell you that building all 7 stages yourself is real work. The tech back could be done in 20 minutes. The full AI pipeline is hours of configuration and some trial and error. You might want to do it yourself. That's not your business. Get an advisor, a consultant. You can go on Fiverr or Upwork, reach out to us because of our specialty in construction. But whatever you do, you could do it yourself or get somebody to help you build it, but move ahead. That's the critical step, is build your 7-step plan and begin to build it out yourself or get someone to help you. And if you want to talk about what's involved in that, reach out to our link in the description. We'll be happy to share with you a roadmap that will work perfectly for you, that's free to anyone on this call.
Yeah, Jeff, and I think this speaks to a classic Tom Brady quote where he talks about consistency is the key to success. One stage at a time is how you build anything that lasts. I go think back to my days at P&G, where we used to talk about how the way that you're going to build brand loyalty is by delighting the consumer with those small moments of delight at each step of the journey. Like, it's not going to happen with some magic bullet or some panacea. It's literally every touch point the consumer has with your brand. The question you have to ask yourself is, did I delight him or her at that particular step? If the answer is yes, okay, you continue on. If the answer is no, you figure out how to improve. Because ultimately, those consistent interactions with that potential customer is going to be what creates the system and ultimately going to create the differentiation that you're seeking in the marketplace. Consistency is everything.
So that's a system. It's 7 stages, just one pipeline. If you want to go deeper on any single stage, check out our past episodes on a missed call problem, the follow-up sequences, speed to lead. They're all linked in the description. If you want a full case study for why no off-the-shelf CRM was built for this workflow and what you should build instead, check out our episode, The Best CRM for Construction Doesn't Exist. Build this instead. So check it out. And we'll see you next time, where we talk about why contractors lose jobs after the estimate. Until then, have a great week and go out and build it one step at a time.